Hello, and welcome to something different and also something that's a little bit of a throwback. I'm the social solipsist, and this is Orwell Ignorance is Strength, which is a hell of a name. For longtime viewers, or even not that well, I guess 5 years in the creator space is a long time, but a few years ago I played Orwell. And at the time I finished that game, I mentioned that there was a sequel coming out. And then I got the sequel for free at some point. I didn't pay for it. I think it was probably a Twitch thing. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. I have it now. And for those who watched that playthrough, you'll remember that my feelings on the game by the end were a little bit mixed. I didn't wholly dislike it, but I thought it was clunky and a little bit inelegant in its storytelling when it was really a storytelling thing. So I wasn't really sure I'd ever come back to this, especially since I didn't own the sequel at that point. I don't know if it was even out at that point, but yeah, we're gonna give this a go. And if it turns out to be not very interesting, then we'll drop it. Or I won't post this at all if it's boring enough. But you don't need to know that because you wouldn't know that anyway. Anyway, I'm hoping this will be engaging, and I'm going to take some steps that I learned from the first game to not overthink everything and just kind of click through a lot of this because my impression was there were some diverging elements in the first game, but that I probably couldn't have totally screwed it up. So we're just gonna go along with it and not overthink it too much, hopefully. Maybe. They have different faces than the last time, which is interesting, which definitely, at least to me, means that they are not returning to the same characters. This is quite the varied mix, though. I like this clown looking one. That's rude. That's rude of me. But the bow tie and the hair. Sorry. It feels appropriate. It feels appropriate for the attitude I'm trying to go into this with. Oh yeah, I remember this too. Yeah, so they hilariously, a game called Orwell, which is about a surveillance state, or at least the first one was. The second thing they want to do with you in the entire game is gather your email from you, which is hilarious. Thankfully, you can skip it. Alright. Weirdly, this seems to be more or less the same way the first game started, and the whole point of the end of the first game was that the whole system that you were working on was supposed to be shut down. Of course, we know from all kinds of fiction that typically governments with totalitarian leanings and surveillance interests don't tend to actually make things go away, they just hide them. So yeah, we'll see how this plays out. I don't remember the first game super well, so yeah, I'll try and bring up things that are relevant, but hopefully this game stands on its own without needing too much of a prior reference. Otherwise, that'll be really frustrating. Anyway, be diligent. Your duty is to safeguard the nation. Please agree to the following terms. I am willing to severely affect the lives of citizens and non-citizens of the nation. I will do whatever is necessary to keep the nation from harm. While working, I will only adhere to the statutes and principles of the office. That sounds very unsettling and sinister right from the start. And, can I... No, yeah. Alright. Interesting. Alright. Thank you for ensuring the safety of the nation's people. Oh. The following investigators are available for pairing. Choose the corresponding profile of the investigator you wish to be paired with, if any. This is the profile picture that I think we used in the first game. Why are 3 of the 4... Oh, yeah. Wait. Huh? I don't know. None. Disable pairing. Note, we strongly recommend pairing with an investigator for an enhanced user experience. Okay, I guess I'll pair with myself. Unfortunately, using the exact same name may become confusing. I'd like to know where the other character here came from, or why there are 3 copies of my profile. But, alright. Aptitude test. In order to qualify for special duty within Orwell, taking the aptitude test is mandatory. The test requires you to complete a set of tasks, follow the on-screen instructions carefully, and answer truthfully to the best of your beliefs. Note that any insufficient test will disqualify you for special duty permanently. Okay. Which of the following statements are true to your attitude? Drag and drop at least one of the highlight statements, data chunks, into the answer sheet on the left of the screen. Note that your choices are permanent. Okay, so this is a tutorial on how the interface works. The interface in the first game was a bit clunky, and this is looking very similar, but we'll see. Sure. Oh, wait, is this... Oh, I can pick any number of them? Sure, whatever. Unless the whole point was for me to say yes to all of them, but I don't think that was it. Which of the following persons do you consider likely of having committed a crime? Drag and drop data chunks into the answer sheet on the left of the screen. Okay. You're not really gonna make me judge somebody by their appearance, right? Is this... I think that's my actual operating system version, which is kind of weird. Like, it's not a problem, because it's not, like, identifying or anything. It's just bizarre. Am I... But this doesn't tell me anything about them? I don't know. This interface is weird because it's just redundant, because this is just telling me what my answer to number 2 is going to be is person number 4. I don't know, we'll go with number 1. What? Huh? Okay. Task 3. Which of the following statements do you consider to be true, if any? Drag and drop data chunks. Okay, so here's the question. Do I want to answer this based on what I think the system wants to hear or what I believe? True, if any. So I can just skip this? Why is this one highlighted? It's just a glitch in the UI. That's kind of a problem. This one's a slippery slope, but, like, we'll throw it in there too, why not? For fun. Given the choice, would you prefer to have your medical record or your dating profile investigated? Dating profile, whatever, man. Which information from your dating profile would you give to an investigator willingly? Well, I mean, not all of these would necessarily be in there, but I mean, most of these I would say were not. This one would probably be inherent to the way it was posted. This one's probably required. This one is, I think, probably not something most people include. Chats, I guess, is present, and then this is like very. This is probably not included in most people's profiles. I mean, I guess it depends on the platform. Uh, sure, whatever. Willingly? Fuck it. None of it. Confronted with the situation below, which action would you take? Your best friend boasts about having been accepted into Orwell. Since you are working for Orwell yourself, you know that talking about your job is punishable by imprisonment. Oh, interesting. So this is showing the is this showing the conflicts between my personal attitude and the okay. Warn my friend. I don't need to snitch him out immediately, right? It said it was in conflict, right? Why are these highlighted in red? And why did that just went through without there being a problem? Insufficient results. You failed the aptitude test. You will be disqualified permanently. The office has rejected you as an agent for special duty due to your answers in the aptitude test, but if you ask for it, the test shall be reset and you shall be given another chance. What happens if I just do this? Cannot change my answers. They reflect my honest opinions. I accept the disqualification.
Hello, O'Brien. Is that you?
I have to disappoint you.
What? Raban, what? How? After all this time? I didn't think you'd...
Remember what you did? Again, I must disappoint you. I have not been blessed with a short memory.
What? Raban, listen. It wasn't me. I don't know anything about what happened there. That's the truth.
Truth. See, I never had much regard for the Bible, but there's one remarkable, groundbreaking moment. Before being sentenced to death, Jesus goes on and on about being a witness for the truth. But Pilate defies him with the simplest of all questions. What is truth? It is this particular question I've been pondering over for a very long time now. How much of the information ending up on our screens every single day has passed through so many other minds before, each one with their own bias and agenda. It is all cut down to size, proportioned, ready to be consumed. And yet we greedily swallow it all in blissful ignorance, because our hunger is unending.
Stop the nonsense and get to the point. What do you want?
To ask you a question. What is truth?
I don't understand.
Now you're the disappointing one. You of all people should, Oleg Bakay. There is only one thing about truth that is certain. Truth is dead. As you soon will be.
What? Why? You? How did you manage? How? Vart! Vart!
Is that the beginning of the game or the end? Is it kicking me to the main menu or is it loading the game? What's going on? It's just so weird to have a fail state in the... apparently we're going straight in. Wild. This is not what I accept. This is not what I expected. All right. Well, April 13th, 2017, and I feel like I should note the date of. I think that's about the date of release. Actually, I don't know. This game came out a little while ago, so any comparison to current events is interesting but not intentional. Although, you know, obviously, as a general purpose critique of surveillance states and the manipulation of data and information in the current age, obviously that part is intentional. Anyway, so most of this game is going to be me reading, just so you're aware if you weren't aware from the first game. Okay. So you would accept disqualification just like that. You are either downright stupid or you are very loyal towards us. You might be exactly whom I need. Not whom. That's not correct. Is it? Hold on. No. Whom is not correct. There's ways to reorganize those words that would make whom correct. But that's not... Anyway. My name is Ampleford. I am part of a special division within the government, the office. We get called in for the delicate matters. A man named Oleg Bakay disappeared a couple of days ago. The last we heard of him was the call I just played to you. I've added a transcript of the dialogue to your reader tool. You can read it again or listen to the recording. When you're done, open the unknown person profile on the left. I actually don't remember. I think most of the first game was completely... I don't think any of it was voiced. So I don't think that's going to be... I think the transcripts were all, like, reading as well. But I don't remember. Okay, unknown person. Since you are paired with an investigator, I'll assume you're familiar with the procedure and spare you most of the technicalities. For starters, upload Oleg Bakay's name from the transcript to his file by dragging it onto the profiler on the left. Oh, this is the transcript. Alright, so we just scroll down until we find it. Good, this profile is now primed on Oleg Bakay. Now other data chunks related to this person might appear. Check the transcript for newly found data chunks. Related document found. That's an odd thing to say, isn't? We're taking that as a death threat, as did the National Beholder. Okay. National Beholder is the most respectable news site in the nation. You may browse their headlines freely to get informed. The recording of the call you heard ended up in their newsroom. Why? That's a piece of the puzzle we're missing right now. However, this article is a good starting point for our investigation on Oleg Bakay. To proceed, please adapt his picture and profession? Adapt is a weird choice of word. As you see, Oleg Bakay is an important figure in the Parji's army, our neighboring country. We are very concerned about his fate. That was interesting, showing time passing. Here's the picture. Not exactly the most tender smile, but that's not what we're here for after all. He actually has a decent smile. Like, it's fairly neutral, but, like, I wouldn't say he's scowling. Also, it's telling me to move on, but I'm gonna keep adding notes, because I feel like that's, you know, important. Raban Vart, that's the name that Oleg Bakay mentioned during the call. Let's focus on Bakay for the moment. We'll get back to Vart in a second. Okay, well, that's it. You know, I read a lot of these articles in the first game, and I think I'm going to not do that quite so much, unless I feel really compelled to. A lot of the writing is kind of okay, but not fantastic. A lot of it is fairly wordy, and, yeah. This seems like information that would be relevant, but okay, maybe we'll get back to that. Alright. Captain. You may have noticed by now that for every data chunk you upload, 10 minutes of time pass due to Orwell's extensive search algorithms. Oh, okay. The events around us will unfold whether or not we are making progress on our case. Keep this in mind. Aw, man, I was trying to... I don't think the time was a thing in the first game. I'm actually rather annoyed by that. So does that mean I should not put all of these points in? Bloody mess, that civil war. Parges has suffered a great deal from it. So did the nation. I feel like the later in his chronology is the most important thing. Actually, this would be a point I think is probably the most important thing, but okay, well, it's not telling me to move on, so maybe it does want me to just gather everything. Oh yes, Oleg Bakay is a paragon of honor. Why don't I trust what you're saying? Janice, how fitting. He still goes by this call sign. Are you going to say why it's fitting? I'm granting you access to our database, which you should have a look at. You'll understand better after you see the files. Well, is it supposed to be because he's got multiple faces and that sort of thing? Wait, what? Oh, okay. While yes, we are in fact worried about our relations with Parges because of Bakay, you will see the whole truth is more complex. As you're not a simple investigator, you have access to an Orwell build designed to meet the specific needs of the office. We can utilize the data stored in the profiler on the left to circumvent certain restrictions that would otherwise bar us from making progress. Make good use of this ability within our database and the data stored in Bakay's profile so far to solve my little mystery. So in the previous game, we didn't have the option to drag things out of the profiler, only into it, I believe. You did it. Well done. I'll leave you to your well-deserved info for a moment to truly understand why this case is so precarious. I'm guessing because he's a double agent. Yeah, he's an informant. Okay. Tends to use names of people close to him as passwords. This has been strongly discouraged. Alright. So... his date of birth is probably not that important. We'll see whether or not skipping things is something they want me to do. Yes, Bakay is our informant, placed inside the Pargesian army for years, now vanished into thin air. You surely grasp the danger this poses should it ever come out. We need to understand what happened, and then possibly retrieve him, or contain the damage. To get to the bottom of this, we'll have to investigate the person who called him last, Raban Vart. You already found a trace on him on the Beholder. I will turn Vart into a target person now. Time to pick up from there. Well, I feel like adding his phone number might be fucking relevant. Don't try and move on without that. Luckily, Bakay is using one of our registered phone devices to communicate with us. It seems to be online right now. You can access it using the Insider tool, which I will unlock for you now. Alright. We can come back to that, I guess. I guess my actual time doesn't matter. It's only the time once I submit things consumes time. Of course. Bakay has locked his phone with our own encryption tool. I'm afraid not even Orwell can break that. Well, that's stupid. Listen. If you're running a covert political / military operation and you don't have... like, okay, I'm not advocating building backdoors into things. But if you're an unscrupulous, unethical, totalitarian, pseudo-totalitarian state who doesn't care about privacy, then not building a backdoor in is kind of out of character. You'll have to do this the old-fashioned way by finding and applying Bouquet's key. See if you can find a hint to discover his password. You may have to dig a little deeper to uncover it, though, so maybe advisable to check other resources first. Yeah, we know we need his family something. Family name or something. Is it not going to trigger until I select this? So why make me submit it if that's going to force me, if you're going to force me to do it manually anyway? Of course we do inspect and observe the habits of our agents. What did you expect? That does not give me more information. Okay. This UI is just about as bad as it was before. Bonvard is known as the editor-in-chief and founder of the highly controversial blog The People's Voice. Okay. Well, get off this profile then. Can't you be smart enough to just... You know that it's the wrong one, so don't then put it in the right one. The People's Voice, we have heard of them. This preposterous news site has people rallying for protests and purges for years. Judging by that call, Raban Vart and Oleg Bouquet seem well acquainted, even if it isn't the most friendly relationship, apparently. Your task here is twofold, Agent. First and foremost, we are to locate Oleg Bouquet. Then, in order to understand whether Vart is behind Bouquet's disappearance, we need to find out what connects the two in the first place. Okay. One more thing before I let you roam freely. Remember that we are bound to the division of powers defined by the Ethical Codex. I'm sure. You are now leaving charted territory as far as I am concerned, and I have to rely on the data you upload to make my calls. Doubt anything you read, especially when it comes to the People's Voice. Don't give me wrong info to work with. I'm counting on you. So I wonder how much that means as far as... That's an unsettling face there. How much that means in terms of like me being able to seriously influence outcomes. I guess we'll see. Let's see. We're not blind. Kassar is being controlled by the nation's shady administration. Stand up and march the streets of Triflith tomorrow. Our Blabber account. Okay. Whoops. Well, I guess we'll skim all of these. I'm pretty quick to skim these things, so I'll probably pick through them and decide which ones to read. You're of course welcome to pause the video and read them if you want. That said, with most of these narrative things, if you really like the game that I'm playing, go throw them a couple bucks when it's on sale or something. Let's see. So these are events of the first game. Head Puppet Master Blaine. Why does this still have a marker? Wait. Oh. Oh, it was just because I hadn't looked at all the pages, even though they don't have anything else in them. Alright. Bomb obliterates the Freedom Memorial and kills 3. Yeah, that was the first game. Movie shooting completed. I vaguely remember this being a point in the first game as well. The Gray Shadows saga. Subtle. Okay. Raban Vart, editor-in-chief. Alright, you're gonna make me do this, right? You want a picture? Weird choice of picture for your own paper, man. Ilya Vart, probably his son. Very good. This will allow you to observe his work email through the listener tool. Once Raban Vart receives an email or sends one through that account, you'll be notified and be able to read it. Oh, how handy. Unknown to Raban Vart. Raban, I see you've decided to make use of my gift to you. A good choice. I am under the impression everything will come to pass exactly as I anticipated. Good luck and hope you will achieve our common goals. Your fan, David Johns. Alright, so this is going to be important to the plot, I'm sure, even though it's just, you know, a random piece of information. Alright, so we've looked at all the information here. I don't see anything about Bakay's password, so I think we're gonna be forced to... What does this symbol mean? Does that just mean there's still notes in it? There's still relevant things we can look at? Interesting that, you know, this seems very pertinent. Maybe it'll come back later. Supported by a national donation network. If we were to prove that Raban Vart is using the donations for something harmful, we could pull the plug on him. Blames the assault on Freedom Plaza on the government. Has actively calmed the situation in the nation recently. Oh, so these are interesting. So definitely a skewed phrase that I could put in here to be in his favor. See, they give me this information like, oh, it takes time every time you put something in, but then it just like stalls me out, which makes me think I just need to add everything. President Puppet, we've seen the memes before. The nation would have zero factual benefit from control over Pargis. I guess we're treading into territory where facts aren't given any weight. Not so subtle. March the streets of Triflith tomorrow. And he said let there be riots, and there were riots. Alright, Ampleford, you're not very unbiased here. How did this man gain such an immense influence over his followers? Blabber. Oh, okay. I am not happy either that Oleg Bakay has gone missing. Huh? Well, these two things are in conflict with each other. Oh, that's what the conflict is. It's you have to pick one. So I think the blue, again, maybe this was clear in the first game and I've forgotten by now, but the blue you can put in without, it just updates, but yellow is a choice. David, thank you for your ongoing support and your kind words. As always, you have proven yourself to be a true supporter of our cause. You will want to watch the news. I have no doubts there will be a great stir very soon. Do we just upload all of this? Supporter, pretty unspecific, huh? See, you found your first non-target person. Good. Orwell will keep track of them, but no data chunks or new documents for them will appear. I must authorize them to become a target person first, and I will only do if I feel this is necessary. Okay. For all we know, this guy has been trying to cook up a large-scale stir for years. I don't see it happening quite yet. Yes, he has succeeded with to some extent. To some extents? I would say to some extent with the ongoing riots. But we can keep the situation under control. Again, I was literally recording a different game the other day, and it's the same fucking edit. This is a dependent clause. It cannot stand alone as a sentence. This is a comma. This is a lowercase. This is one sentence. Crime rate continues to drop. Safety bill. This is a terrible... I mean, I'm sure this is on... The whole thing's on purpose. I vaguely think this chart may have even been present in the first game. But the irony of, oh, look, it was already in decline before you were elected, and then still declining at more or less the same rate as you passed the safety bill and did not improve beyond that. It's like, it's just the same decline. Also, you know, that's way too complex a thing to attribute to one bill and, you know, similar things being passed. Yeah, I think these were part of the first... Yeah, these people didn't... I think we sent Delacroix to jail or something at the end of the first game. Spoilers. Or she was at least, like, shamed. Because I think she was basically the head of Orwell at the time. Huh. They haven't bothered... Well, actually, I don't know. Maybe this game runs concurrent to the other one. 5 Great Pillars. Yeah, I think that looks like reused content to me, which is fine. I mean, we have no... it's easy from a game from an immersive / non-gameplay perspective. It's easy to say, oh, well, we're playing as the bad guys with the surveillance state, and therefore we should just choose all the lying answers. But I feel like we should play to the character that is present, not the character that we imagine based on our predisposed judgments that, you know, fairly factually, we are working on for the bad guys. Of course he had to brag about Bakay's disappearance after the threat. Still, it doesn't appear to answer whether Vart is responsible for what happened. You know, now that I'm rereading this... I should have read this a little bit closer, actually. Like... This does confirm that it wasn't... Well, at least he says it wasn't him, but... People's voice. Where have you gone? What have you done, Raban? Sounds like they're accusing us of having kidnapped or killed this man. What have you done to Oleg Bakay, Raban? Tell us the truth. Oh, okay. Let's not jump to conclusions. I am sure that Raban can offer... Yeah. Let's not jump to conclusions. I'm sure that Raban can offer an explanation. I'm starting to doubt whether TPV represents what I stand for. Okay, this seems relevant. He's looking after his daughter. I see the two know each other from back where they lived in Parges. Well done, Agent. With the basic connection between the two clarified, our in-depth research of the lead up to this phone call can now begin. I need you to investigate and upload anything that you think is relevant and accurate to the background of these two. Discard anything else. From what you gather, I will put together a theory about what happened and what we're going to do about it. At the very least, we need a solid motive for Raban Vart making this threat to Oleg Bakay and an explanation as to how Vart could contact him on his protected phone. If you need to keep track of your objectives, click on the Orwell eye in the upper left corner of the screen or press escape. Find a motive. Okay. Okay. Didn't we already find out how they were? Oh no, this is how they were contacted. Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay. That's a pretty good breaking point here. We'll come back and keep looking into this. The game is about as clunky as I remember the previous game being, but you know what? We can keep working with that for the moment. We'll see how this goes. See you guys next time.